jump rope. And we hope that other disciplines will come up so that we can have as many sports disciplines in this country. Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. So let me just start as Grace continues to connect the notes. So what is Kenya Jump Rope Federation? So this is the national governing body for the sport of jump rope. Yes, everywhere we go, when we talk about jump rope, everyone asks, jump what? So jump rope is skipping rope, but it's a sport. So jump rope, a lot of people have come across jump rope. A lot of people have been part of this activity, but they have not been part of the sport. And we are here to show you, and even the world at large, that jump rope is a sport like any other in the world. So jump rope is so when you ask a question of what is jump rope, so jump rope or skipping rope is an activity that most people have experienced in their lives and play as a playground activity or a fitness, but the competition part of it is unfamiliar to many. This is a sport or a game where one or more participants, as you have seen, jump over a swung rope so that it passes. Jump rope in itself has 3 dimensions. So yeah, we have the entertainment part of jump rope, we have the sport part of jump rope, and then the fitness part of jump rope. Guys, you can't miss to be part of those 3. Yes. So the competition. So jump rope, where did it start? Jump rope in Kenya started in 2010 in the slums of Kibera. Yes, in 2010. We have been in Kenya, operating in Kenya, actively operating in Kenya for the last 14 years. And due to minimal attention and support, we have been able to achieve some good stuff that we are going to share with you. So yeah, I'm excited to be here with some of the jumpers that when the sport started in Kenya, they are the first people. Some of them were in grade 3, some of them were in grade 5, but now they have gone through high school and colleges, but they are still doing jump rope. And today, as the leader of jump rope in the country, I want to hold hands with you so that we can grow this sport. I heard a lot of people saying that this is a sport that is already in the new syllabus. It incorporates all the CBC syllabus. Therefore, why is it not active? It will be active if we hold hands with you. So, jump rope as a sport, it has 2 main disciplines. We have the single rope, you saw it, and then the double dutch. The single rope is where a person has his or her own rope, and they jump over the rope, and then double dutch is where we have 2 ropes swung at the same time, and we have 1 or more jumpers jumping inside. So within those 2, we have several mini disciplines, whereby we can't answer the question of how many players make jump rope team, because you can have like 50 players or athletes to take to a world championships. So jump rope is governed in the world by International Jump Rope Union. That is the world governing body for the sport of jump rope. And we are members of IJRU. We are also founding members of Africa Jump Rope Federation. And therefore, through IJRU hosting world championships, Kenya has been able to participate in 5 world championships, where we've won a lot of medals. Yeah, we've won a lot of medals. I don't have my list here, but yeah, we've been able to represent this country in 5 world championships and other international tournaments that happens yearly. As we speak, the sport has been included in the Olympic Games as an exhibit sport, whereby Kenya has been invited. And if we make it, we will be the only African country to represent this continent. Jump rope has had numerous achievements apart from just representing the country to the global. So many of our athletes have gotten opportunities to study at the high school level free of charge. And we have one of our students, I think two? Yes, two who were sponsored through university, courtesy of jump rope. As we can see, we have very minimal jump rope has very minimal attention, but already it's achieving a lot of stuff. So what if, can you picture if we come together and grow this sport, how many opportunities can we bring on the table for our young people? Yes, today, let me just talk about the economic part of jump rope. Yeah, there is that question of what does jump rope bring on board? So today, if we have structures that can allow World Championship to happen in the country, jump rope has numerous opportunity in terms of bringing as many participants as you have never imagined before. So I want you to imagine this scenario. Last year, we had World Championships in US, Colorado Springs. Unfortunately, we were unable to take a team. We had more than 2,000 participants, exclusive of officials. And many countries were saying it's expensive. That's why they took only few to the championships. I want you to turn around and imagine this. The same championships was in Kenya. How many participants could we have hosted? Maybe just double. Yeah, maybe we can just do a double of 2,500. That is 5,000 athletes coming to Kenya because of jump rope. So there is a big and huge opportunity that jump rope can bring in this country.
Recording stopped.
As I speak, I coach jump rope at International School of Kenya. 3 of the jumpers you saw, they are full-time jumpers, full-time jump rope coaches in various schools. And those are just 3 schools that have embraced jump rope. What if the entire nation embraces jump rope?
Recording in progress.
How many opportunities can we bring on board in terms of people, in terms of employment opportunities? There are many. Right? My audience, you are so quiet. Yes. So those are only the opportunities that I'll be able to share for now. But if you have any questions, please, we are here for the next 3 days. And also, we are here to share contacts, to network. So let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep developing these sports, but our desire, our objective is to see the sport growing from grassroots to elite level, where we have the sport at the primary, secondary, and university level. We also want to see Kenya producing the best world-class jumpers in the world, jumpers as well as judges and coaches. And our biggest desire, we know this will be possible in the next less than 5 years, we will be able to host jump rope in this country in the World Championship. We will be able to host World Championships in this country. You are my witnesses, and you will be there to witness. So I'm asking all the stakeholders to come alongside, do a research together with us. Let's see if we can have these structures where we can host World Championships, Africa Championships. We want jump rope to go beyond Kenya. Right now, we only have 12 countries doing jump rope in Africa. We are behind South Africa in Africa, but when we go to Olympics to represent and teach other countries, I believe we will be the first jump rope country in Africa. Yes. Next year, we have World Championships in Japan. We are welcoming all of you to come and say, how can we create this how can we build this sport so that it can become a worthy sport, so that it can be an legitimate sport? Yes, this is an legitimate sport. It is a legitimate sport. You know, you have witnessed, and from here, please go Google. Jump rope, it's all over the world. You will find that it's one of the fastest growing sports in the world. So thank you so much. And thank you, Kenya Academy of Sports, for this opportunity on behalf of my team. And I wish you all the best as we continue connecting and networking. May God bless you.
All right. Let us appreciate Lydia. You can have a seat next to me. I don't know whether I'm loud enough. Thank you very much, even for the initiative and taking this up. I'm actually surprised that this has taken, it's 14 years already operational in the country. Congratulations, and we hope that we can see such games growing and being appreciated in our country. He will help. Any question that we will have from the audience in regards to the jump rope, is also one of the oldest players that we have in the sport. If you have any question, you can direct them to this too, right? I know that, Raki, you're looking at your table, you're wondering, why? I mean, I need to go because I have very many responsibilities, and we appreciate what you're doing for the country and Sport Kenya as a whole. And I know that you have an event tomorrow in Eldoret, so we need to release you. But before we go, in the morning we had talked about sports facilities and how Sport Kenya comes through in making sure that we manage the facilities that we already have, but also very many other questions crop up, yeah? You mentioned about what we have right now was good enough 1987 or 1983 when they were opened up. That is Nyayo and Kasarani respectively. They were category 3. What FIFA or other world governing bodies are looking forward for is a category 4 stadium, right? And that lays the basis of the question. How far are we, or how soon then do we get there so that we can stop the constant questioning? It's a very burning question of why then do we have our facilities locked down and we cannot have our national teams representing us or playing in them as it is right now?
Thank you very much. Now, to begin with, the facilities that we have, even as they are able to host some level of events, because referring to football and FIFA stadium standards, we have category 1, category 2, category 3 and 4. So like you saw the other day, the under-17 ladies played at Ulinzi Stadium. And when you are talking of other international matches, CAF would not even want to hear about that stadium. So questions that come in, wasn't that an international match? Then why was it played there? Then other matches cannot be played there. It's because the level of the competition, yeah? So different levels of competitions require different categories of the facilities. So that's the reason why you find some facilities are able to handle those, some competitions, while when it comes to another level, a different category of a stadium is required. So when talking about World Cup qualifiers, the World Cup qualifiers required a facility that had some specifications. And if you look at what we have, like in Ulinzi, it doesn't meet. While Kasarani and Nyayo had been closed so that they can be renovated to be able to host, AFCON. And for AFCON, it must be category 4. There is a checklist that CAF keeps giving. And from time to time, there are normally, changes. I can give an example. For those who understand football, in the past, we used to have 3 substitutes during a football match. Now we have 5.
Yes.
What does that, how does that affect the infrastructure of the stadium? Mm-hmm. You find that inside the changing room, the dressing rooms, you must increase the number of lockers there. And you find that if the lockers we had could fit exactly inside that locker room. It means we have to expand that room and put in new lockers. So it's not a simple thing. If you look at the dugout or the bench, yeah, from COVID time, so many changes have been coming up. They talked about spacing the seats, you know, that increased the size of the dugout. So from then, they talked about increasing the number of players. It was 21, they increased to 23. Now it is 25. So each time they bring new regulations, we have to meet these regulations for us to be able to match the standards. So those are some of the things. From the face value, someone would look at Kasarani Stadium and find it as maybe one of the best facilities around. How comes it doesn't meet? It's because of these regulations that keep changing from time to time. So we have to work to be able to achieve that. And we are normally given a checklist. So when the inspectors come, they just come with their list, look at what you have. If you have maybe, you have a dugout, yes, but it has 23 seats, and the checklist is talking of 25. They just put an X. So someone will think you have nothing, yet you don't have nothing. But according to the checklist, it's like you have nothing. So usually the issue is not about lacking it, but having the correct specification as required. That is the issue.
So I think very well explained. I think my next question will be, then how do we preempt this? Because we had Nyayo Stadium locked down like 2 years ago. Maybe because of the added checklist, now again it is not available because we need to upgrade. Then how do we make sure the two biggest stadiums that we have right now, Kasarani and Nyayo Stadium, that are up to standard, or we can preempt the checklist to avoid the very constant closure of the stadium?
What happens is this, because you cannot predict what FIFA is going to give tomorrow as their regulations. You understand? So you cannot decide that because last time they were, like the dugouts were 23, they said now 25. So we decide to make maybe the benches for 27. That again is against the regulations. You understand? Because again, if you go to the field, the technical area has its size. It must fit there. So everything that they bring, they give you specifications for it to align with the other regulations. Otherwise, if you do your own thing, that again will be counterproductive. So the only thing to do is just to be very proactive. Whenever the regulations come, you try to move with speed. But again, you understand, we're in government, we have procedures. So when something comes up, you can't do it as fast. You have to, be within the limits of the procedures again. So what we'll try to do is just to, as soon as you get the regulations, try to be as fast to implement.
All right. And we understand that we cannot go ahead and have our own rules anyway, but it's something that, I don't know, maybe have more stadium in future to make sure that we have one that is working and one is closed down.
Exactly. Yeah. And the sad state of affairs is that we depend squarely on the government for all the sports facilities. If you look at other developed countries, we have clubs having their own facilities. So the deficiency is not so much there because when the government is working on a facility, the clubs have their own facilities that are also, standard.
Yeah.
So, and that calls for partnership with the corporates to support the clubs so that we can have more facilities. For example, we are trying to work with the KPA for Mbaraki Stadium to see what can come out of it, because that's the only way to be able to expand and have so many facilities so that if we close Nyayo and Kasarani, we are not in blackout.
All right. That's a long-term plan, however, because nothing can be done in the short term. And
yes, and then again, we're also trying that when we are building facilities like the Talanta Sports City, we try to be as futuristic as possible. You know,
Very,
we
very
try to
important.
be as modern as we can, so that in case of any changes, for those things that are never checked with a tooth comb, at least we'll have them.
All right. I know, Mr. Raki, your time is really up and you need to leave. But one last question from me is our athletes. This is a question that we have had year in, year out. Every time, our athletes don't train in Nyayo or Kasarani unless they're in a residential camp. They are resided in Ngong or in Kaptagat or in Iten, and they will need the Kipchoge Keino Stadium may be operational for them. This has been a constant question year in, year out. How far are we? What do we expect? What should we be answering our athletes every time this question comes up?
You asked about Kipchoge Keino Stadium?
Yes, in Eldoret.
As I mentioned to you, tomorrow the stadium will be handed over to the contractor so that they begin the construction. And when complete, it will be, you know, a modern facility. So they complete with football facilities, athletics facilities. So I think what the athletes should expect is a very good facility so that they can be able to appreciate that although they've had nowhere to train for quite a while, but when they'll be going in there, they'll be going for a good facility.
All right. Do we have a time frame that you are working with? You know, I see our coach and a very one of our respected coaches here, Brother Colm, who will be talking to us later here. I'm sure he's looking at, okay, we have had that over and over again. What is the time frame? When can we have a stadium ready for the athletes?
There must be a time frame because the Kipchoge Keino Stadium is part of the AFCON facilities. So, and inspection will be done at the end of 2025. So before that, the facility must be ready. There is no two way about that.
All right, 2025 is a time frame that we are working with here, and we hope that this time round we will be having good news. We'll all go to Eldoret to welcome the Kipchoge Keino Stadium. If you guys, not with your permission, I'm actually pleading with you guys. Let us release Raki. He needs to travel. Unless there's any burning question that I've not covered. Wow. Okay. All right. Those are two. Oh my God. Can we deal with those three only? Hey. Oh. All right. Can I have a microphone? Somebody help me quickly. Let's start.
Before you start, moderate them because as we move, people are charging and they'll keep raising. So let's say how many? Let's say how many? 2 people.
Can we deal with three buddy questions?
The first 3 that, yes.
We can start with this table, then we go back there. And Brother Colm, did you have a question? And then let's deal with 3. Tumaliza na hizi meza. Alafu tutaonana nyuma ya tent, si ndio?
Thank you so much, and thanks for such a wonderful presentation. I just have 2 basic questions. And these questions are anchored on the fact that it is very, very costly putting up this infrastructure, the sports infrastructure. I wanted to find out if we have any robust maintenance policy that the Sports Kenya use to safeguard these facilities. Because the very reason why we are struggling to repair and the Nyayo and Kasarani is because most of these stadiums had been vandalized, badly vandalized. Many things got lost, and now we are again inputting money to maintain them. Does the Sports Kenya have any policy on maintenance that can be instrumental to running this infrastructure? Number 2, we have year in, year out bought quite a number of expensive machines and other gadgets that are required whenever we have sports. Now we are talking about AFCON. We are going to put in a lot of money. Do we have any system where you have a robust asset register that when something, for example, like when we had under 18 sports here, later on we were talking about having some sports, and tracing some of these things, including even some vehicles, was a problem. Do you have any asset register that somebody can go back and say, we bought these things during these sports, and we have these ones which are still in good form that can be used, but we want to replace this because of the technological hip. Just those two: maintenance policy and an asset register. If you have them, and at what level do they operate? Thank you.
All right, I will let all questions go so that when he starts answering, he's going to answer all of them together.
Thank you. My name is Adan Kanchemirio, Kenya Judo Federation Deputy President. First, my question will go to the audience. How many of you do indoor sports? Raise your hand. My second question goes to the panel. How many indoor arenas are being constructed today in Kenya? I am an indoor sport person, but according to the trajectory, we don't have indoor facilities being constructed. We are having it very difficult to have our sports at the county level or at the regional levels. What are the modalities for that? Thank you.
All right, final question here after Coach Brother Colm, right here on this table.
Let me make one observation first. The gentleman spoke about facilities. And of course, facilities are something we look at when we're competing at a relatively high level in the sport. But however, when it comes to schools, and in my own personal experience, is teachers who are coaches also need to be very creative when it comes to facilities. They're not going to get state-of-the-art facilities in their schools because the country cannot afford it. So creativity is important when it comes to facilities also. On the doping issue, which is a scourge of Kenyan sports, and of course has seriously damaged the image of our country. And it's an uphill battle, and an ongoing battle. I do feel with the young people of Kenya that perhaps one of the factors that influences the sporting culture or the drug culture in Kenya is the get-rich-quick culture that young people have. They want to be rich overnight. They don't want to really work for it. I'm not saying everybody, but I am saying such cases, that they take shortcuts to wealth and to riches. So, and they see quite a lot of that culture around them in the country. So that's a big challenge also. So the drug culture perhaps cannot be solved in isolation. It's a much bigger problem and a wider problem than athletes just taking performance-enhancing drugs. Also, I think there is a kind of a theory that I have about drug taking among people, and that is that young people who become convinced that they are lacking something in their bodies, in their personalities, in their characters to perform at the highest levels. If they're convinced that you need something extra, and I often call it the supplementary in the widest sense mentality. If you're convinced that you're not good enough, if you're convinced that you can benefit from something from outside, you're already setting the scene. You're already preparing the mind of the athlete to be introduced to perhaps a drug culture. And thirdly, athletes who have been banned and of course are very often stigmatized because of the fact that they have been banned. They're still people, they're still Kenyans, regardless of what we may think about them. And I'm wondering if there's any proposal from our drug organization to do rehabilitation with athletes who have been banned and their career has been finished. It has been terminated, basically. And I'm just wondering that because we've had some athletes who have been
Yeah,
banned,
true.
have gone very much astray in life and have had serious issues. So I'm just wondering if there's any rehabilitation exercise in place for such people.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Coach. I think, Raki, before we get to the doping topic, we deal with the first and second question
Yes,
in the
exactly.
indoor and the question from...
Yes. About maintenance policy and issues to do with vandalism. Actually, one of the biggest problems that we have in terms of facility maintenance is vandalism. Some vandalism that happens even, in broad daylight during events. Like the most recent vandalism we had at Nyayo National Stadium, if anybody can remember about the last Mashemeji Derby, the football match between Gor Mahia and FC Leopards, where fans just, ran riot and started vandalizing the facility and even looting things, like taking away chairs and anything that they could find. So that happens quite a lot, although we are trying to deal with it. And how we are dealing with it is this way. The clubs are held accountable. So, because it's not easy to trace the funds, but the clubs know those funds. So we hold the club accountable. If your funds cause vandalism, if they steal anything, then the club will pay. And even for that last event, FC Leopards had to pay heavily because their funds caused the biggest part of the damage. And because we had, we have CCTV, so we just show your footage showing your people doing something, so you can't say it wasn't this person, yeah? So if you can't produce that person to pay for the damage, then the club pays. And indeed, they pay. Because if you don't pay, you don't use that facility anymore. We ban you from using the facility. And they all know about that. So what happens is they preach among their fans that, please, don't do this because it will cost us. Yeah? You vandalize the stadium in 20 minutes, it will cost the club 2 million. And that's the money they are looking for to be able to sustain the club. So that has been helping us. If you don't control your funds, you pay for their damage. That's what we are talking about. Then about sports equipment, especially for international events, like you've talked about World, did you talk about World Under 18 or World Under 20? Something like that. Now, for these international events, we normally have a local organizing committee. So the local organizing committee normally handles those activities, and then after the event, they do their report and hand over the leftover equipment, or any other equipment is handed over back to our parent ministry. Yeah, but because we are the custodians, normally they're handed over to us. So whatever is handed over to Sports Kenya is what we have. So for example, we don't have vehicles from World Under 20 because they were not handed over to Sports Kenya. They were handed over to the ministry. So that's how it happens. But the rest of the equipment that we received, we have an asset register for them, and they are intact. And those are the equipment that keep being used in Nyayo Stadium, in Kasarani, and even in Ulinzi, because much of the athletics equipment are stored at Sports Kenya. So the ones that are being used by our athletes are what we give them, what we have. Okay, then the gentleman from Judo asked about indoor arenas being constructed. And I share in your problem because I know we've had plans to build indoor arenas, but none has come to fruition up to the moment. However, I think it takes us back again to the fact that most of the major facilities, sports facilities, depend on government funding. and government has so many other competing needs. So much of it come with some bit of pressure here and there. Like you can see, Talanta Stadium is being constructed because we won the bid to host AFCON 2027. So I also believe that if we win a bid to host an indoor event that cannot be hosted in Kasarani or Runyawa Stadium, definitely a new indoor arena will have to be constructed. So basically, that is the challenge that we have.
All right. You have covered it, right?
Yes.
All right. Guys, I'm really trying to manage time here, and I want us to work together. When we are asking the questions, let us be straight to the point, and when we are also answering the questions, we will be straight to the point, because we're already lagging behind with our time. I'll just have one question for Dr. Yauma and Jimmy, and if you will want to have any information in regards to the jump rope, you can visit Lydia. She's with us the whole time today. You reach out to her, and even how to register with them, because we need to take a break for the next session so that we take lunch and have the next session. But a quick one, Brother Colm talked about what is a transition and how do we prepare these athletes because they're banned, and how do we make sure that we protect them from that? That is one question that you'll answer very quickly. Then Mr. Theuri, you will now tell us quickly how you balance between the academic and sports for the young talent as they're coming up, because it's quite a challenge with the parents and the athletes themselves. And also, how do we know a coach, not a scout, and a scout, not a coach? Very quickly, those are the questions. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the question. I'll go straight to the point.
Yes, straight to the point.
Because of time.
Yes.
Now, the law that established ADAC gave it very straight mandates of ensuring that we educate and create awareness, then test to detect and be able to protect the free environment for sport, then conduct results management to ensure that we sanction those athletes who have been found to have doped. Now, the law does not give us the mandate or any function in terms of rehabilitation of athletes who have been sanctioned. However, that one does not mean that those athletes who have been sanctioned and are out of the game, they also human beings, the way you've said, and they need a lot of support, because there are consequences which they are encountering, economical consequences, lack of income, social consequences, and everybody wants to run away from them. Then, of course, health consequences, because these substances really affect their body. And therefore, we are having that discussion as a country. We are encouraging, first of all, federations to come in handy and support these athletes. For us in the agency, we still continue creating awareness to these athletes, although they are prohibited from participating in sports, but they are welcome to be educated and be informed, be capacity built, so that then by the time they serve their sanction and they come back, they are able now to live a clean life, a clean practice in terms of sports. We have also signaled this to NACADA, which is the body that normally deals with it, and we had a courtesy meeting with the CEO of NACADA just to see how NACADA can come in terms of rehabilitating these athletes and making them be able to stand up and come back to play when they are healthy, both socially and health-wise. So that's a gray area which we need to explore, just to make sure that we just don't lose our athletes just because probably they have doped. And basically the essence is just protecting the free play competition level and not to victimize any athlete. So I think that is something that is
in
the
discussions
pipeline.
moving forward. Thank you.
It's still in the pipeline. I'm really rushing you guys, but it is straight to the point. We still have a gray area right there. Bona Theory is just a quick question of how to balance academic and sports, especially for those that are already, Kenya Academy of Sports is dealing with those in school already. So how do we balance this so that we don't lose on either side in 1.5 minutes?
Thank you, Shiko. Currently, I must admit that there is a challenge in balancing the academics and the sports, just because our education system is based on examination. But I want to believe that the direction we are taking of the CBC, once we have identified those who are taking the pathway of sports, it will not be an issue because there will be tailor-made programs for academics and sports for those. The reason why we are also identifying schools that we are working with is so that those students, the teachers there can create time outside the normal timetable for those athletes who are involved in sports, so that when they go for their sports, when they come back even during the holidays, they can have remedial time to cover up so that they can catch up with the others. So that is being addressed. And the Kenya Academy of Sports also has all the intention of having its own school for sports, so that those we invite in our residential training can also have academic programs tailored for them, so that whatever time is lost in academics can be recovered even during the evenings and weekends and all that. That will be the solution.
All right.
You had another one on the difference
Coaches.
between scouts and coaches.
Yes, I think what I'll have you, because I have you for 3 days here.
Yes.
I will have you in between our plenaries. I can include you in between. But right now, allow me, Lydia, and our player, what's your name? Isaac is one of the oldest players we have in jump rope. If you will want to have any question with him, he will be with us the entire day today. Please take advantage of speaking to them, any question that you have with them, how to contact them, how to register for the federation. Please take this a moment to be with them, to get the answers that you need in regards to jump rope in the course of the day. Right now, allow me to just bring this session to an end. We will take a break, go for our lunch. Like I said, we're really trying to catch up with time. In the next 45 minutes, let us be back here so that we can be able to continue with the rest of the program. But for now, let's break for lunch. Our ushers will guide us to where we will be having our lunch, where it has been set for us. Kindly let us keep time, and next time tuulize maswali 1 minute, na kujibu tunajibu 1 minute. Sindio? All right. See you at 2 or the dot. Enjoy your lunch.